So welcome everybody to our talk on 7 seconds how to impress with a video. Tonight you will be listening to me, who is Eugenia from YouFocus Pro, and Stefania, who is a fabulous personal stylist, and we will combine our knowledge to help you feel much more confident, to help you give some ideas and insights, practical tips on how you can make the most out of what we have now, because I don't like talking about this because there's so much online on this topic, right? The whole C word and isolation. But we are basically trying to make the most out of it, right? Help people to feel, the only way we can do it is online now. We don't really have in-person meetings, and for some people who do feel more comfortable offline, this is quite a struggle. For those who have never done online, this might be a struggle as well. So our mission basically is to share what we have to share to help you and others to just make the most out of this time. We will be focusing on the personal styling side of things, how you can use your style and clothes the best way possible for camera, for the online meetings, videos, whatever it is that you do. And also on my side, I will be covering certain psychological and technical things around video and how you can make the most out of it so that you give a really good impression to people who see you for the first time, or people who keep seeing you. So maintaining your values and showing, what it is that your business really has to offer to people. We'll try to keep it structured first, Stefania, then me, but we might get a bit carried away because there's so much we can talk about. So yeah, and whenever you've got any questions, you can just type in the chat box and we'll be answering them towards the end so that the other people who can't join in, they can also benefit from those questions that are usually very fabulous. So quick introduction myself. Most of you probably know me already. I'm Eugenia. I am a founder of YouFocus, which is a video marketing company. We combine two sides. It's direction and production. We do professional production for people, so higher standards, high quality videos, promotional events, whatever it is that you want. And we also teach people, run workshops, online courses where we help people to get to grips of how to create a video. And the main thing we teach is how to do it with your mobile phone. So you don't really need to invest. You don't need to spend the precious money that we are all concerned about now. You can start using what you have. And I'll be touching up on some of that stuff tonight, so you can literally take your telephone and use it later on. And then, Stefania, I'll leave it to you to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. For those who don't know me yet, I am Stefania, a London-based Italian style coach. And I love helping people to boost their confidence while developing their style, their personal style. I'm the founder of One of a Style. And just a quick introduction in my background. I have a background in fashion. I worked in Italy in the fashion industry for over 10 years. And then some years ago, I moved to London to bring my style to London. And well, let me tell you this. The idea behind this free talk comes because first of all, I met Eugenia some time ago. We have worked together, and she told me all I know about creating my own video content. And I am a great testimonial of Eugenia, because since when I started creating my own video content, I started increasing increasing my inquiries and more interactions. And I believe in the actual situation where we are all spending more time at home, it is so important to connect with people more than before, more than ever. So I believe here, most of us, the majority, sorry, I think my boy was knocking at the door. I think the majority of us is an entrepreneur, a self-employed. So I think this is the occasion not to just stop and see what happens, but to fight and to put yourself out there even more. But you need to do it carefully. You need to do it properly. And so I had a conversation with Eugenia some time ago after this lockdown started. And I said, why don't we share our knowledge, our tips for people who are struggling at the moment, who want to do this step forward and you know, share something. We give our hand, and so here we are. So from a styling point of view, why it is important? Well, let me tell you this. A few days ago, I had the first virtual meeting on my networking group. Oh, I can see Jamie there. Sorry, c'est mon son. And as soon as I connected, as soon as I opened the camera, someone said, "Oh, Stefania, you look so glamorous." And you know, bingo. I am a stylist. I want people to think I am glamorous at first sight. So my first 7 seconds worked. Now, if you are not a stylist, you don't have to look glamorous, but you have to give you the message you want to give. You need to be sure that you're giving the right message. And unfortunately, when you connect through a computer, all people can see in the first 7 seconds is your face and very little more. And then you start speaking about you and what you do. So it is difficult. I'm not saying that it is easy, but you have to try, especially in this situation where, you know, we are really tempted to wear just the most comfortable thing that we have in our wardrobe or our pajama. Try to make the extra effort to give the right message.
So
Obviously.
speaking of the right message for the styling, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I'm really curious. I was choosing my clothes tonight really carefully because I was like, I'm speaking to not just anybody but personal stylist. So what do you think about my I don't know, look, my outfit? How do you see it?
It is perfect. First of all, yeah, Eugenia is a great example. So she had a color analysis with me last year. So she has a consciousness about the best colors for her. And she chose one great colors. This was one of my tips in the list this evening. So I'm going to speak about that a bit more later on. You can't see really too much, but it's enough to focus the attention on her face. So when she speaks, I believe everybody is really focusing on her face. You have nothing that is distracting the attention. And also you have a nice makeup, your hair are perfect. So everything that I see in you is, you know, perfect.
Oh,
and
fabulous.
of course, I know you and I know what you do. So, you know, you should ask someone else. But
no, I have to say, to be honest with you, just a quick note that personal styling did change my life as well. For me, as a person who works with video, people would often ask me a lot of things, you know, because they think that I know what to do for myself. And when I started filming my videos, I started feeling much more comfortable, and I started getting much more stuff from people actually commenting on, you know, how I look on camera. And I think this is why we decided to do this, basically, because they work together so well. Because if you choose the right colors, the right shapes, the right clothes, makes you feel confident, and that is what shows on camera as well. So I leave it to you, Stefania, to give some tips. We are obviously good testimonial for each other because we've used each other's services.
yeah.
But let's just get to recommending people some things, you know, that we find super useful in this.
Well, or Justin is saying that color really suits you. So about color now, if you had your color analysis, you probably have a consciousness like Eugenia has about the best colors to enhance your face and your look. If you don't, it is difficult now to give you personalized tips, of course, but what I can tell you is try to understand what are the general overall characteristics of your face. Just to make an example, I have overall light colors. So for me, light colors work much better than dark colors. Eugenia as well has medium to light colors. So for her, this rule applies as the same way. On the contrary, if you tend to have quite dark colors, probably dark colors work best for you. And also try to not to use too vibrant and too bright colors because they might be overwhelming, especially into a video. Again, this is the part of you that people see. If you are wearing I don't know, like a print that is too bold, too bright, or a color that is really, really bright on camera, what happens is that, especially in the first 7 seconds, that color is going to grab the attention, and probably people will lose the first sentences, the first words of your sentence, and you don't want it. So even if you don't know exactly what colors work for you, you can try to do this little, little test yourself.
So on this note, actually, something I would like to mention as well in terms of video production and just videos in general. I do agree with Stefania, and you can, I've been posting actually some different things around how to use your telephone and how to use it to its best on my Instagram. I'll just type it in for you if you want to check it out as we speak. But basically, one of the ideas is that you wouldn't want to use the color or the clothes that draws all of the attention to that, because when you speak, say I normally do use some makeup, which is what I do today, sometimes I don't, so I have like a mixture, but I'd be adapting that, you know, mostly I would use makeup probably, I'd say, but I did the pictures for people online without any makeup so they could see the difference. And when you have really bright colors, because people can only see yourself, right? Because we are speaking here about content videos when you speak to the camera, so you share something with people and they really you know, the only thing they see basically is yourself, which is what we want, because we want them to focus on you and get to know you. But if your clothes is too bright, and cameras sometimes can exaggerate those colors as well, depending on the colors, make them darker or brighter or too much, you know, popping out, especially if you have really pale skin, you know, or if you haven't been in the sun for ages, or, you know, it's just one of those days, or maybe you just look, you know, a bit sort of, your colors of the face are not as dark and bright, then the clothes can actually be distracting factor, because we want people to establish connection with you and look you in the eyes, you know, and see how you behave, not watch the patterns or colors on your clothes. So that absolutely resonates with the video as well.
So now I'm hoping my pattern is okay.
Well, I don't think, yeah, I mean, it's questionable because it depends on how people, you know, take it. It's not too bright. I would still prefer using one color, not a pattern. But I wouldn't say that yours pops out too much, so you can kind of get away with it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I think these are quite contrasting colors, but still on a soft level. So, all right. From me, the next tip is really, especially now, again, I underline, especially now that we are in this lockdown situation, whenever you do a video content or you have a Zoom call with a potential client or customer, or with a potential partner, so another professional, please try to dress nicely, as if you were going to meet this person in person, as if you were attending a networking event, because you are virtually still connecting with those people, and that is your occasion to connect with them, to give your message, and to make them remember about you. And so because you do it from a computer, you might think this is, you might find it less relevant. On the contrary, I think it is just the opposite. When you meet people in person, there are many, many factors that can help you give a message. When you just speak through a video, you need to be very specific and focused, and so to me it is really even more important. And once again, this is the part of your body that matters really. So you can, I don't suggest you to do that, but you can also you can still wear your pajama trousers, but do the extra effort for your top. So your hair needs to be clean and groomed, and you don't have to wear makeup. But if you usually do it, if you do it when you go outside, do it for your call or your video content. And just try to look your best. Do not exaggerate. Also be conscious that too many accessories, especially if you're wearing a mic like me, because my computer microphone is not working, can just create noise. So this is another tip that maybe you can confirm, Eugenia.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that it's really interesting you talk about the pajama bottom because I think everyone, and well, most people probably were super excited, like myself, when you don't have to leave your house, you know, oh, I can just wear whatever. And then, you know, you've got a call, just put like a nice top on. And then the more you do this, the more you go like, oh, actually, you know, I'm wearing my pajama bottom. I don't really feel like, you know. So I was wondering if you would say it's important to actually wear the full outfit, because for me personally, I found that when I'm still wearing my, not necessarily pajama, but you know, like a house sort of homey, you know, baggy kind of stuff at the bottom, I still feel like not 100% in it. Would you say that sort of wearing a full outfit would help you get more into your character?
Yes. Yeah, so as I said at the beginning, I don't suggest you to do that. I'm just saying, let's say you have the freedom now to do that, and maybe for some people that really don't like to put together outfits is a good point at this in this situation. But yes, I think when you have a total outfit that really works, it helps you feel more confident, and so to have, you know, a more confident attitude. So, but that's up to you. It's not something that others are seeing, it's something that you know. So
Yeah, because I find this interestingly, again, linking this to the video, for myself specifically, when I have my videos done, for me, it's very important to wear things that I feel comfortable in, you know, things that I know make me look good, from, again, from my experience and from sessions with Stefania, from feedback of other people, I would know that, you know, this is the best, you know, this is like a, if I don't know what to wear, this is a go-to option, or, you know, all of those kind of things. And when I film my own content videos, which you might also see on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, I normally wear clothes that make me feel, you know, like I look good. Not in terms of like I'm not pretending to be like the most beautiful woman of this world, or like a beauty contest, you know, participant. It's not that. It's more about just that feeling when, you know you are your best in every aspect. Because one of the things that's super important for me in my business, as I would probably think for most people in their businesses, especially if they run their own business, is being your best and giving your best. And with the camera, the trick there is that if you do wear your best, you know, and you feel your best, you don't need to think as much about how you come across. Because I'm one of the things that people often comment on camera, and the concern that they have is like, I don't know how to speak to camera, you know, I never studied anything. I'm like, you know, I probably need to have a training and stuff. You might, you know, if you want to speak a lot to camera, and you want to have like long speeches or something more around public speaking, it might be the case, but not necessarily. But what we're talking about here is content videos. So what we want is you as you are. So we want genuine people. We want, you know, just the way you would go out in the street or in your networking meeting and wherever it is, and you would talk to people being in your professional self. This is exactly what we want. And when you are in front of the camera, what I usually recommend people doing is imagine that you are not in front of the camera. Imagine that you are in front of your ideal client. You're looking them in the eye, and you are just passionately explaining what it is that you do. You know, if it's a tip, or if it's you know, an update about your business, or an explanation, or an event promotion, whatever it is. Which again, you can get some ideas, and hopefully we'll get to this as well towards the end of the talk. But you know, when you are yourself in your best, you also are yourself in your top values for your business, and you are also that way projecting the right energy. And that's exactly what we want for the camera. It's not about knowing any acting tricks or taking on personalities. I actually find this a little bit too confusing for people, because I think they overthink things a lot. Just being yourself, being your best self, is the best thing you can do when you are talking to camera, and you know, then potentially posting it online, or even if it's just a Zoom call.
yeah, and I connect to what I said at the beginning. I think it's one of the most important things, especially for video content in this case. Try to wear something that really represents yourself, your personality, and your brand. As I was saying before, I am a stylist, so if someone thinks at first sight that I look glamorous, bingo, is not the same for everybody. So I'm just saying, if you are an accountant, you don't want people to think that you are glamorous. You want them to think that you are, I don't know, trustworthy, professional. I'm just saying some words like this. So you just try to think, and also if you want to, for example, make a video content targeting companies, a corporate world, for example, your look, your style needs to target, no, you know, those people in that world. So instead of wearing, and it's just an example once again, instead of wearing a very casual jumper, put on a shirt, a blouse, you know, something that is corporate. And this is just an example.
Good. Yes, I find it actually very you know, like a lot of people would think about presenting again, like if I speak about camera, because I mean, there are two options these days, right? You either go on Zoom calls and you talk to people, or you have your telephone where you either run lives or you pre-record content. So those are the two options. And in either of them, a lot of people might think I need to be, you know, either like casual because everybody is at home now, or they think, you know, I'm not saying this is the rule, but we do get some of that. Or they might think, you know, I need to wear super formal clothes because I need to be presenting to camera. But what is super important is for you, again, to be yourself. When you are going into video, like conferencing meeting, or if you go on to a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or, you know, you're just pre-recording video content, wear something that would actually represent yourself as a brand, as a, you know, a business that you normally imagine. You're going for a networking event, imagine you are just somewhere where you would be meeting people, and this is exactly how you would want to look. And just speaking now, I just remember one of the very important things actually, the difference between how you make contact with people with the help of the camera. So it's very tempting, both on Zoom calls and also on the videos that you pre-record, to look at yourself or the person you're talking to. So I'm just going to show you so you see the difference, right? Now I'm looking at Stefania, and because we're having a conversation, it's a normal thing for me to do, so I'd be looking at her. Now, if I am doing the same thing with the telephone, I'd be looking at myself, and this is exactly what people get. They get my eyes going elsewhere, and even though it's super close to where the camera is, it's still slightly different to this. Because when I do this, it almost feels like I look you in the eyes, right? And this is one of the main things I usually find people don't think about, is how people see you when you talk. It's perfectly fine if, you know, if you want to double check, like I occasionally look at Stefania as well because I want some reactions. I look at some people that, you know, might be on camera if it's a conference call with more than one person. And for Zoom, I'd say I probably wouldn't worry about it too much unless, you know, you really want to connect with people, like delivering the content into their eyes. Like I love doing it because I also run webinars, and I just like establishing the extra trust with people. But when you have one-to-ones, or when you have conference calls, I think it's not that critical. You can still look at other people because it's a very usual format and everybody actually accepts it for what it is. And we know that we all look at each other because we look for reactions, and we can't look in the eyes you know, of each other because we have a camera in between us, you know, like a distance, obviously, like quite a long one. So it's much more acceptable. But when we speak about content videos, if you do share something with your audience, speaking to them, I highly recommend looking into the camera, because just like I showed you, when you look at yourself, which in this case will be for me looking at Stefania and her reactions, but when you do this with a mobile phone, people still see you and your facial expressions, but there is this tiny bit psychological subconscious moment that when you look them in the eye, they perceive you much better. And it's very subtle. It's very, you know, it's almost like, what's the point in this? But believe me, when you post the pictures next to each other, like again I did on Instagram, and when I show people examples, everybody goes, yes, I resonate much more with, you know, when you look into the camera, because when you look into the camera, you look your audiences in the eye. And for trust establishment, this is the best thing to do. And again, one of the things I say, video is not just there for the social mechanisms. Yes, it's good, and that is actually one of the reasons why we're doing this, because we know that, you know, in these times specifically, even before, but in these times specifically, when we've got no other means of putting ourselves out there, social media and online is the only space we can do this. And we have 2 points in here. We first have social media mechanisms, where you can see Stefania's example, which is my based case study probably. She is constantly on top of LinkedIn, you know. Even people that are not connected with her, she's constantly within first 2-3 posts you would see a video or a post from her, or you know, whatever it is. And it's great because
This is a good thing, isn't it?
it is fabulous because you're putting yourself out there and everybody sees you, you know, for your business marketing. This is perfect. And also, of course, you want to combine the content, but if we think about the mechanisms, LinkedIn does favor videos a lot these days. And this is one of the secrets that people have been telling me about LinkedIn. Video is the way to go. So you know, as soon as you start posting more, you will see how much difference it makes, how much more people engage with your posts. And you know, very similar, can't tell you about Instagram in terms of the mechanisms, but definitely, you know, when you've got video, people engage with it more, because once something starts moving, we have this reaction of, oh, what is it, you know, and we catch it. And this is why you have those 7 seconds whilst people are figuring out what it is to make that best impression. And with the video, you know, it's one of the best tools, because you can't meet the person, they don't know who you are. And online is so impersonal. Like you know, you go through all of those posts, and you know, the news feed is like full of stories or blog posts or wonderful pictures, but what do they tell you about the business? You know, what if you don't, I don't know, what if you don't like the way the person speaks? Or there are so many things, you know, behind it. And with the video, you deliver yourself just the way you are. You know, it's just appearing, then showing there is a human being behind this. And with the social media, I think it's a perfect combination of promoting your business and establishing trust. Because when you speak to camera, I think it's only if you're like a very good actor, pretending, then you can sort of maintain a wrong image. But if you're just being yourself, you just show people the way you are. And you know, you constantly, oh, sorry, instantly you attract people who would be resonating with you. And you know, from people I have been working with, this is what we want. We want to attract audiences that would resonate with us, not just anybody to sell. Well, unless, you know, certain circumstances, but we're speaking about, you know, the business we care about and the values we care about.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Totally agree. And I think especially now with, I mean, I think it's always like this. If you have to choose someone, especially for something very personal or very important, like your finances, I don't know, you just want to that, you know, the extra hints, like, okay, she's or he's the right one. So this is your chance really to make people, to give people the extra, and to give yourself and your business and your brand the extra value people might need. Yeah, I think I have another, I would like to add another very easy trick and tip, because I usually wear spectacles myself, ladies, and I try to do some videos sometimes with glasses on, and it's really not nice because, Eugenia, we confirm it, you have to do it with the light in front of you. And what happens is that the light reflects on the lenses of the glasses, and it's really not nice. Not because it's not looking nice, because people get distracted. It's really distracting. So when you do videos, you don't really have to see, okay? Maybe it's even better not to see what's going on. So take off your glasses, or if you wear your glasses, maybe you need to find a trick not to, you know, have this reflection, because it's really, really distracting.
This is very interesting you mentioned this, because it's true. When, you know, one of the top tips I always give to people is about light. So just to give a bit of introduction into this for those who don't know, telephones have wonderful cameras these days, and cameras in general are wonderful tools to record videos. But we need to remember that they are different to our eye, because when we look at somebody, we have such a complex mechanism going on inside, you know, interpreting where the light is coming from, how it's going, and, you know, where we look at and how much reflection there is and all of that. You know, we have the full picture that is, I don't think any single camera or lens can actually interpret that the way the human eye does. Now, when you've got camera, and specifically mobile telephone, it would interpret the light the way it sees it. And basically what would happen is, when you, in the case of the glasses, right, you'd get the extra reflection, and the camera would be reacting to it and potentially make it even brighter. And one of the psychological things of when people look at a picture, you know, this is why again, this is another tip, you know, what to use as your background. And coming to light in terms of the background, I would not recommend having a bright light behind you, because when people are looking, even if it's a Zoom call or whatever it is, the eyes will constantly just go down there, and they will be, you know, subconsciously distracted from what it is that's going on in the frame. So the best thing to do is to put the light in front of you, and you know, you can probably see from Stefania's example, she is using an extra light, and it's coming, you know, slightly from the side, but it's perfect because the light, you know, the face is lit up, and you can see her very well. Whereas if she had just the usual room lighting,
Do you want me to switch off?
We should have just to show the difference, yeah.
Oh, it's dark.
Exactly, but I bet that if I was there looking at her, literally, she would just be looking her normal self, because the way I interpret the light is one thing, and you know, when the camera sees that light, yeah, you can switch it back on so people can see you properly. When you switch the light back up, you know, this is the difference. So Stefania, say hello again so that we can see.
Hello.
So this is what the camera does. It interprets the light. So we would not see the same thing in real life. We would just the same way we do on camera. They are different, and this is one of the tricks we need to remember. So yeah, so one of the top tips whenever you think about filming anything, first thing to think about is the light, because it makes such a big difference. I mean, I can switch off one of my lamps as well now, and you know, you would see a massive difference. And when the light is coming from above, you know, again, you will get all those weird shadows over here. When the light is coming from the side, you'll get one side of face bright, another one would be kind of looking a bit, you know, sometimes maybe even dodgy if it's too dark. And again, you can see those examples on my Instagram profile, so you've got the visuals for it. But basically, front is where you want the light to come from, because that way it basically evens out. Even we are not perfect, right? And we are, like, you know, sometimes we use some makeup, sometimes we don't, but when you have the light coming from the front, it basically evens out those things that might be a bit more visible when we use a different kind of lighting. Then again, you can look fabulous, your best light coming from above, and immediately you start having all the weird shadows, right? And even if, you know, you normally don't have them, this is the way the camera sees it, and this is, you know, this is basically what everybody's going to see, and that's not what you want. One of the main things to remember as well, we don't think about giving a wrong image to people. The idea behind this is to give them to reflect the values of your business with the image, because, you know, one of the a bit exaggerated examples, but still I can give, is, for example, a lady specifically, right, who's got kids and family, and you know, they're trying to run their business at the same time, which is fabulous, you know. But say, for example, they sit at home on a sofa and they go, okay, my kids are sleeping, I'm going to record a video, which is fabulous, and which is what Stefania does probably a lot these days.
Yes, now I do it.
Yeah.
That's my situation at the moment.
So what might happen is, you know, I have seen those examples online, and unfortunately quite a lot. And what happens is people wear whatever, like a top tank, you know, and they, like, their hair is not really looking nice. They've got a bit of a tiredness of not sleeping enough hours, and then they have the wrong light and they record the video. Fabulous information, but you know, when I see that image, it gives me such a wrong impression. I know that person most probably, you know, because of the contacts that I have. But the image that I see is not the person that I know, because, you know, it's so misinterpreted by the camera, because camera exaggerates the contrasts, you know, the bright and the dark and all of that stuff. And again, you want to avoid this, not because you want to be photoshopped. This is just because you want to give the right business impression, because when you run your business, you don't come in speaking to people about how, you know, how few hours you slept and how many kids you have and how much food you need to cook for them. You might have that conversation occasionally, but that's not the main premises of what you want want to show. You want to show your business, your top values, that you are serious about it. And what I teach people is usually around this, is understanding that when you are serious about your business, you want to show the best image, not cheating, still being yourself, but making the most out of technology, because it's a different medium. It's not something that we, just the same way our eyes process information. It is quite different. And the light is the key. As we've just seen on the Stefania's example, you just switch off one source of light in front of you, boom, the image is completely different. And so when you're filming content videos, think about having your telephone in front of you, but then the source of light maybe slightly to the side, or telephone in front of you, a source of light here. So something along those lines. It will always give you a nice picture. And also remember about contact with people. Again, one of the main things we do with the video is we establish trust. We make the customer journey slightly shorter, because they don't need to be reading and investigating that much about you. The human factor will kick in, because they will see you just like if they met you, because video is a second best tool to meeting somebody in person. So they will see you and they will get an impression straight away. And if they do like that impression, they will continue, watching your videos. And people still need to see you between like 6 to 13 times, I think, before they can make a decision, if they want to buy from you or whatever it is. So you make it shorter, instead of them having to go through 13, they might go through 5, times seeing you, then going, oh, she's really, or he's really bringing value, so let me just check it out, what it is that they offer, and, just getting more and more curious. So that is the main idea we want to achieve with the video. So trust building is key. And if you do want to build trust with people, just like you normally would with your customers, I would encourage using the video to its, to its best. And yeah, so apart from clothes, apart from lighting, another thing you want to think about is how you speak to people. When you have a conversation, again, one of the things that I give advice in terms of content videos is, this is how much of me you see now, right, in the frame. And this is exactly how much you see of a person when you speak to them in real life. So this is what you want to have, either vertical or horizontal. You want to think about, sort of just below your shoulders kind of size, where people, when they're having conversation in real life, this is as much as they see. If you get too close, or if you start getting too far away, this is creating, a bit more distance with the people. And again, you can see those examples. I posted recently, when you're too far away, people start getting as if they were screaming, sort of towards the further corner of the room. What we want to create is a sense of conversation. And again, this is quite a psychological moment when, when people look at you, you can do an experiment, just observe and see how much of the person you see when you speak, unless you're inspecting the details. But in the conversation, when you look them in the eye, this is as much as you see, and that's the size of the shot you want to have when you are filming your content videos. And another thing I wanted to mention also, looking into the camera can be tricky, right? So speaking of the glasses, I sort of went a bit off topic, but speaking of the glasses as well, another thing that can help you, either with or without glasses, if you do use them or not, if you see well or not really, I agree that when you do use glasses, take them off, and that way you won't see yourself, so you won't stress out too much, which is a good thing. And then just sort of have, roughly understand where your camera is, so you can direct your eyes towards there, sort of the top of the phone, or if you're filming horizontal, left or right, wherever it will be. And just try keeping your eyes in one spot, and that will be the best way to do it. But also another thing you might want to do, instead of using your telephone in the selfie mode like this, if you are very tempted to look at yourself, and we, like, especially women, probably would be like, oh, is my hair okay, my lipstick and my makeup and all of that. So I say, if you do really want to reduce that risk of doing this, turn your phone around, so you will only have the camera that you can look at. It will take a bit more logistics, because you will need to set the shot, take picture to see if it's correct, or maybe now that we're stuck at home, if you do live with somebody, you can ask that person to do this for you. If you don't, like myself, for example, you can just put it on a timer to see if it's the correct frame. And once you got the frame right, press record, come back, sit down and just talk, you know. And it's easy in the telephone to just cut off the beginning and the end so that you start talking straight away. And the trick there is, once you sit down, don't just go like, hi, this is me. So sit down, breathe in, breathe out, smile, and start talking. And this way you will have that time to actually cut off, because when you just sit down and go straight into, stressfully trying to deliver information, people will notice this. And you want to, you want to ground yourself, you want to sit down, have both of your feet on the floor, breathe in, breathe out, slice my, you don't have to go like all excited, if it's not you. If it is you, then, you can do that as well, but just sort of slight smile and, and then start speaking. That will give you a bit of time to cut it. And at the end as well, when you finish your video, don't just go straight into, okay guys, thank you, and stand up and run, or just press the button, so that everybody sees it and it's difficult to cut. You say thank you or bye or contact me, whatever it is, and smile. And just count to 3, and then it will be easy for you to cut it off as well. So again, coming back to glasses another time.
Yeah, it might take some time. I mean, I remember the first videos I did myself. I took it like I had to record maybe 10 shots before having the right one, and now maybe I do 2 or 3, and I have, in a habit. So it takes some time, but take it as a fun, as something funny, as a fun experience. So yeah, you said something very important, that we need to feel comfortable and confident. So of course we share many tips this evening, might feel overwhelming with you guys. I think the first rule is, there are the technical rules from Eugenia that you really need to remember. For what is the styling point of view, I think the rule number 1 is for you to feel confident. So don't do anything that is making you feel not yourself. Do everything that is making you feel the real yourself. And just to make an example, and then I think we can go to the question and answer, unless you want to add something. Yesterday, I had a Zoom call with a lady who said, and I asked her, how are you coping with the situation, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, you know what? She was all, with the hairstyle and makeup on, accessories. She was looking gorgeous. And she said, this is the first time that I do all of this since the lockdown started, basically. And you know what? I feel so good. I feel so energized. And now she is doing it. She was doing it every day she was going out. And for some reason, because she doesn't have to go out, she just forgot about it. And then the moment she had to talk with someone else to show herself, her business side, she decided to do that. And she admitted, I didn't ask, but she said, I'm feeling so much, myself and so much more energized. So this is what I really, as a stylist, I suggest you to do, to feel the best version of yourself, which doesn't mean have makeup or don't have makeup. Just feel the best version of yourself.
I completely agree, and I find this so crucial that you mentioned this. It's just create the conditions for yourself that will put you in that best state. From my side, camera is always a bit daunting. It doesn't really matter how many times you record. There is this thing about the black hole, and there is a whole psychological explanation of the phobias that most of the people have, and it's a normal thing because there is a bit of an interaction with your subconscious mind, which will not get into those nitty-gritty details of psychology, but it is normal to feel that. When I put the camera on, I'm used to it, but I still get a bit of a and it takes me a bit of time to get into this. But just remember to do whatever you can to prepare for it, so that you feel as confident as you can in everything else apart from camera, because this is something that might be a bit trickier for everybody. And it doesn't matter how much or little practice you have, it still is just the matter of it being a camera. And again, the more you record the videos, practice makes perfect. Maybe not perfect, but it definitely helps you lose that, you know, cringy feeling of, oh, you know, putting myself out there or whatever, you know. I went through this as well. Like people go like, oh, no way, you're like talking, you look so good on camera. And I was like, you should have seen me 5 years ago. Like, you know, probably not 5, but about 6 or 7 years ago, I was running my business. I'm not speaking about videos. I didn't even have a website. I was just scared to put myself out there. But what I do now is I know that people resonate with me, so why not put myself out there? You know, why not show people that, you know, this is who's behind the business, and I can help you be the same, you know, with the video, with whatever it is I can do around production or, you know, visibility or, you know, all those things. But that's what basically that's what you can get, and I do understand you really well. So create the best conditions possible before you record the video, and then it will be so much easier for you to just get yourself out there, record it, and do it more and more times before you post. You know, if you feel uncomfortable, you know, record, and then at some point you will actually get to the point where you go like, you know what, I'm gonna post this because I think I nailed it, and just do it. Cool. So is there anything else you would want to add, Steffi, or shall we just go into?
I think we can go to the question and answer.
Great.
So you can unmute yourself, ladies.
Yeah, if you feel more comfortable typing in, you can type it in. If you do want to unmute yourself and ask the question, feel free to do so as well. We've got about 10-15 minutes for yourselves now to throw anything you want to know more about video and styling, so we can help you get your head around this.
Any question?
I've got a question.
Ready.
Sorry, I'm just going to put my video on. It is very dark. I tried my lights when you guys were talking about lights, but almost blinded myself. Do you think, I mean, the background behind me is very messy. That's because I'm in my office and have finally got the time to actually sort my office out. So that's why it's a little bit chaotic in the background. I've seen a couple of people do video networking events and stuff like that with their branded banners and stuff in the background. Is that advisable, or is it just too cheesy?
I think it depends on how you want to position yourself, really. So if you want to, you know, really show what it is, you can. I find it a little bit too overwhelming because, say, for example, if it's a networking event, like, you know, Women in Business that I think we're both part of, or, you know, Athena or any other, they might want to put them, you know, the whole branding behind them just because that's the way for them to show who they are. And, you know, that's just what they do all the time. For business owners, I don't think it's essential. Like, I'm using normally this background just like a plain wall if I am in the conditions, you know, or if it's just a Zoom call, I might even have my like bookcase behind me. I wouldn't worry too much about the actual you know, background, because when you are in a Zoom call, it's slightly different. Just be careful about what people see. As you're saying, we know you, I don't really care about you, what you have in the background, right? But some people might go like, oh my god, what is this, what's that sticking out in there? And they start inspecting again without wanting to do so, but they just sort of start looking at things. And, you know, it's not about criticizing and it's not about judging as such, but the less information you give people, the less they are going to look at. So they will concentrate on you and, you know, communicating with you. That's the main idea behind this.
I think Justin is asking if she needs a tripod or not, and in case, where should you hold the camera?
My personal take on this, I don't come from, you know, the youngest who are used to watching whatever shaky videos and stuff. I get a thing that is called motion sickness. So I always recommend people try keeping your telephone stable as much as you can. If you do not want to invest in a tripod, which probably costs you just about £15, I think, these days. I don't know if they put the prices up now because people probably are buying more. I would suggest actually putting it somewhere, like if you have a bookcase or anywhere else, you know, that it can stay stable for some time, and just, you know, just stay at the distance that you find being the right size, and you can talk for as long as you need to. So my personal take on this, my experience and feedback from my clients and other people that have been on my webinars, normally is, yes, keep it still. When you're out and about, if you still want to record a video there are things that are called gimbals, and unless you're very good at securing your phone so it doesn't shake, which might be a bit tricky and you can have a bit of a pain in your arm as well, Those ones usually cost between 100 and 200 pounds. I only recommend them to people who really want to do a lot of videos, and you know, they feel like production is a big part of their brand. Or if you have that money to invest, obviously. Otherwise, yeah, try to keep it still, and you wouldn't want any extra noise anyway. So outside is not the best place to record if it's like a, you know, if it's a longer explanation. I don't know if that answers your question. Hopefully, yes.
Can I tell my secrets? Where do I put my phone?
Absolutely, secrets are welcome.
I'm using my printer.
You see.
Yes, a printer. Yes, I use it. I sit. I found my perfect spot, my perfect corner. I sit on the sofa, and I just have the printer there. Perfect spot, perfect level, perfect distance, and so that's it.
Good, good. Justine, does that answer your question, or do you want any more?
Yes, sorry. Hi. Yes, it does. Yeah, last time I made one, I was fiddling around for ages trying to get the camera like above me, I think, because if it was otherwise, if you put it too low down, you're looking down as well. It does take a lot of practice, and I don't think I've worked out the right place yet. But
yeah, I mean, in terms of where you put it, you will have to figure it out. But in terms of the too low, that's a very good point you're mentioning, because you want to have it at your eye level. So you would want to establish that, you know, equal feeling, so that people see you in the same position. Good. That's just trying and practicing where you can actually put it. Thank you. Very good question. Thank you. We've got Sue asking, saying, sorry, that I'm staying with friends and space and privacy is a challenge. So how could I shoot outside? So that's a good question. Yeah.
I
So
think I sent the wrong answer. Okay, sorry, Sue. I thought you wanted to leave the meeting, so I said, okay, press on leave meeting at the bottom.
okay. So I would say in these conditions now it's relatively easy because we don't really have that many people outside. So whenever you would go out, it would be actually quiet. What you can do is you can either get yourself a tripod if you really want to do that more times, you know, so if you're using it regularly, it's just about 15 pounds. You don't need to go for expensive one. Just make sure that you get a mobile phone head for it as well. There is like, it's like a thingy that's holding it this way, so you can do it like this or like that. And you know, but if you do not want to invest, then you can just maybe try to lean your arm over somewhere so that it's stable, so when you hold your telephone it doesn't shake when you talk. It basically stays, you know, more stable. Maybe like if there is a tree, or if there is like a I don't know, a shed or anything that can help you to keep your hand stable, because we wouldn't want to be moving too much, because then people would be getting that feeling of, you know, and again, this is not, this might look natural when you talk and walk, but camera exaggerates that move. So don't forget that everything that's coming in is literally exaggerated, and you get much more, you know, shakiness, and it just starts making you feel a bit more yeah, almost like dizzy or sick. I hope that answers the question as well. Any more questions, ladies? No?
No questions.
Okay,
all
so
right.
it seems like it's all pretty much clear. Okay, any last minute tips you want to give us, Steffi, as a bit of a last, I don't know, roundup or something you want to mention before we close the call? No?
Sorry, can I just ask one more thing about, would you say if you get a script, would you position it behind the camera maybe, just as a prompt?
I am the wrong person for the scripts, because I say no script.
Yeah, because then you're not looking at the camera, are you? Because you're going to end up
exactly. That's one thing. When you have a script, you're not looking at the camera. When you have script, you're trying to remember it. When you're reading it, your face looks focused. You are not establishing that trust with your audiences. And I strongly recommend people avoiding. You can put the bullet points for yourself to remember, but I would say just try avoiding using the script, because then you will just be like, you know, your eyes will be constantly going elsewhere, and people would feel it, you know. It's not bad if it's the only thing for you to do, then just experiment. for me, myself, as a professional, I say try avoiding the script. I don't want you to learn anything because you already know everything you need to say. It's just a matter of standing in front of the camera and, you know, and delivering it in a short way, and that's practice as well. Because when you learn something, you try to remember, and you start going, oh my God, what is the next word? And your face just shows it, basically.
Justine, if I do it, you can do it. Come on.
Rosie saying great session, lots of excellent,
yes.
food for thought and advice. Great, thank you, Rosie. That's amazing. And yes, so Stefania was saying something. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that I do, as Eugenia says, I write down bullet points, so it becomes easier for me to remember what I want to say. But yes, I am not a video expert in this case, but I'm doing video content for a while now, and I've tried different techniques. I tried at the beginning because, you know, English is not my first language, so I tried with the script. It was just hideous because you can see me reading, and I was also distracting by reading, so it's not, I don't think it's nice. And if you follow her suggestion to do short video content, it's not going to be that challenging. You're going to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. It's really, really a short time, so you can do that.
Thank you very much for your feedback and all the questions. And we are looking forward to hearing from you, watching your videos, seeing you shine bright in your best outfits, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Speak soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Ciao.